Welcome to the final edition of the Salvia divinorum diaries. Put in a little background to explain what was going on. I've done all kinds of cross-country bike trips, but never all the way across country. Close. I'd gone from like Tucson to Jacksonville, Florida, or say, Jacksonville, Florida to Tucson, or I'd gone from Everett, Washington, which is like above Seattle, all the way to Chicago, or I'd gone from Boston to Chicago, and from Boston to Denver, down into Texas and across to Tucson. But I'd never filled in the Mojave Desert between Tucson and Phoenix. I'd never gone, and from Phoenix to the Pacific Coast I'd never gone. I said, I want to do it. And I just wanted to do it one time. I was in LA, I got a wild hair. I'm going to fill in that gap. It's only going to take me a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks. Do it. Why not? Taking my time. So, bought myself a bunch of pot pills and a bag of weed from the pot store. And had a little cash for food. And I rode down from LA down near San Diego to this town called Oceanside. And then I rode from Oceanside up to Julian. It's on the top of the hill. It's only 5,000 foot up, but it starts at sea level. And it's pretty, 40 miles later, you're 5,000 foot up. So, and then from Julian down to Brawley, and then I crossed Glamis sand dunes, which is the largest sand dunes in America, and I learned why. It fucked me up. By the time I got through Glamis, my lips were so chapped that they were cracked for a month. And I got into Blythe and bought myself some chapstick. It was far too late by that time. Then I rode across the bridge into Arizona, Crystal City, to Phoenix, and that was scary. It only took me one day to get from, because I was riding on the interstate. You can ride on the interstate through Arizona, certain parts of it. Then I rode from Phoenix to Tucson. I was kind of thinking of stopping to Phoenix, but keep going to Tucson. Then you'll totally fill in that gap. I got to Tucson, and I was like, let's keep on going. You've never done a coast-to-coast bike trip. Why not? You're making a little money panhandling. You know you can make enough money to get from town to town to do it. Just do this. And I was motivated and I decided to go for it. I rode all the way, to El Paso, through that desert, the Van Horn, Monahans, Odessa, Big Springs, Odessa, Big Springs, Abilene, Dallas to Shreveport to Jackson, Mississippi, Montgomery. I was taking like a little bit of a northern route instead of the southern route that I usually took. I wanted to do something different, Montgomery into Columbia, Georgia, up to Atlanta to Athens, and then I started going up the Blue Ridge. I took the Parkway for a little while from Ashland, I think it's called. Asheville, or something. I get the Ashland, Oregon, and Asheville, South Carolina mixed up. It's Asheville. It sucked. They compare that town to Santa Cruz or Ashland, Oregon, which are cool hippie towns and college towns. It sucked, man. There's all kinds of cops and undercover, and the hippies are trolls, and you go to jail forever if they catch you with drugs in South Carolina. No. I don't know what it's like now, but back then it sucked. I got out of there. But I got up into Virginia. I'm not going to say what town it is because I don't want to, I met somebody there and I don't want to give away, dox them or whatever. Not even say her name. I met a girl. I was panhandling. She comes up to me and says, what can I do to help you? Because I had my help sign. I'm like, well, obvious I'm trying to scrape up a few bucks. I'm traveling cross country by bike and that's how I make my money. She's like, well, here's 20. Could I talk to you though? I just need somebody to talk to you right now. I'm like, she's really cute, man, okay? She was young though. 28, she said. And she was 28. She looked 28. But I was like 52. I'm old enough to be her dad, okay? But she was really cute and sophisticated and smart and beautiful. And, I'm a lonely guy, okay? Well, okay, let's go sit up on the... She had her car parked there. I don't want to get in your car. Because she kept trying to get me to get in her car. We were talking about stuff, and she was telling me, I've got, like, degenerative back disease. She had sciatica, something, back aches, and she said, I've got Crohn's disease. I think that's all caused by emotional problems, but I didn't tell her that. I was just being sympathetic with her, and I was trying to mentor her a little bit, because I was older than her. And I've been there comforting her with talking to her. She kept trying to get me to go with her. She was interested in me. I was telling her about because I was filming everything. I filmed this whole trip. I've got it on. My sister has those videos for me doing this. And I'm like, telling her about it. I'm showing her some of the pictures on my camera. And she's like, I can help you put that on the internet, this and that. I was just like, I'm not going to go off with some strange girl I don't know. I'm not going to do it, man. It's just dangerous. It's just not my thing. Never has been, really. I have to get to know a girl quite some time. And I was traveling. Anyway, and she was half my age. I was holding her beard out. I'm like, nah. So I was like, you know what? You're cute and you're smart and I like you and I'm never going to forget you. I just think it's best if we just say goodbye. And so we shook hands and she turned around and walked away, got in her car and drove off. And it broke my heart too. Because like I said, I'm a lonely guy and I'm like, dude, what did you just let walk away? I'm like, dude, she's too young. 27, are you crazy? Old fool, yeah. But anyway, I continued my trip. I went up all the way up to New York City, hung out there, up to Boston, went across to Chicago. I was going to go all the way across country to Seattle and then down to California, to LA, but it was getting late in the year and I'd already done a trip from Seattle to Chicago and I'm like, I'm beat. I've gone 7,000 miles and I can't do that. 2,000-3,000 more miles, can't do it. And it was getting late in the year too, and we're talking Montana and Idaho and So I jumped on the Amtrak. I made the money in Chicago, jumped on the Amtrak, and went to Emeryville on the California Zephyr. But I never forgot that girl. I thought about her every day. Could not stop thinking about her. And it's like almost a year later. Not quite. It's like 10 and a half months. I'm like, man, you know what? I'm going back there and seeing her. I'm going to see if I can't find her. I'm going to go right where she met me. She goes shopping there at that Walmart. I bet you if I hang out long enough, I'll go there and panhandle. But anyway, I scraped up the bucks to get up to like San Jose from LA. And then I scraped up the bucks. I know all the panhandling spots. I got up to San Jose. I made some money up there. Enough money. I saved up enough money to get on the California Zephyr in Emeryville to Chicago. And of course, once I got to Chicago, I did pretty well. I made enough money to get on the Amtrak to Virginia and have a little bit of money left over where I could maybe get a motel room and get cleaned up and do my laundry and hang out for a little while without, if I could make some money, that's fine. If I didn't, I had a little bit of nest egg. So I went back to that town on the Amtrak and sit there in front of that Walmart where I met her for 10 days. I hung out all day long for 10 days. And I'd go camp out at night someplace and I'd come back there and just sit there reading a book because I didn't have a smartphone back then. I was reading books back then. I still do. I still read books. But she never died. I never saw her again. And after about 10 days, I'm like, oh, dude, what the hell did you just do? Get out of here. Get back to LA, I didn't have a whole lot of money left, but I had enough money to get on the Amtrak to Atlanta. And so I jumped on the Amtrak to Atlanta, and then I decided, well, I'm just going to ride to Dallas. I know Dallas pretty well. I'm going to ride to Dallas and on the bike, the same trip, the same route I took last time coming back here when I met her. And so I did that. It took me a while, a month. I get to Dallas. As I'm riding into Dallas, I'm going through Deep Ellum. That's the ghetto. And there's all kinds of traps. I wasn't going into a trap, but I knew they were around. And there's like little spots where people hang out and just, need anything? I'm looking around for them. And as I'm cruising around, I notice there's this cop car parked on. What's going on over there? I better get out of here. Go take the corner, go someplace else. But I noticed this big black gangbanger-like guy hanging through the passenger window talking to the cop. I'm like, what are they, friends or something? Because he's sagging, butts hanging out, baggy clothes, basketball shoes, and white shirt, bandana. Maybe the cop just called him, hey, come over and talk to me. What are you doing? I don't know. It was none of my business, so I took off. About 30 minutes later, I'm still cruising around. I'm riding by that guy. It's the same guy. He's like, hey, what you need? I'm like, oh, no, man, this doesn't sound good. The guy was just talking to a cop. Oh, well, you got any weed? He's like, yeah, I got them cent squares. I got you. $5, a fat one. I'm like, well, okay. I decided to take a chance. That guy might be an informant. I don't know. But a joint is a misdemeanor in Dallas, illegal in Texas, but under an ounce is a misdemeanor. It's worth the risk. Here's $5. He gives me this fat joint. I keep riding. I get out of Deep Ellum, downtown Dallas, around the library. It's pretty crowded around there. I just pull out the joint, take a big old hit, and I notice it just, half the joint burns up, and lungs full of smoke, and I let it out, and I'm like, my body starts to disintegrate, and I feel the wind blowing through me, and I'm smelling and tasting sage with my soul again. I'm like, oh my God, this isn't weed. This guy gave me some salvia. I don't know if he did it on purpose or on accident, but it was fucked, because I was not, all the other times I did it, I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was kind of getting into. You kind of forget how powerful it is, but you still are kind of prepared. I was totally not prepared. And at first I'm thinking, this is going to drive me batshit insane. And it was all the bells and whistles. Demons hollering at me and screaming and taunting me. Angel, the heavenly choir above singing, or the music of the spheres. And the Holy Spirit comes crashing down on me, and God's there, and Jesus is hanging out, and I'm totally captured by it. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just sitting there. And some of the people walking around, they weren't human. Some of them were demons in disguise, and some of them were angels in disguise. And I could spot which ones were which, and they were looking at me like, yeah, that was revealed to me, that sometimes you see humans walking down the street. They're not humans. They look just like them, but they're not. And I was aware of it. They're like, yeah, you see that now, right? I'm like, yeah, I do see that. But I wasn't scared this time, because I felt this love, and Jesus is like, don't do this stuff anymore, Jeff. I want you to go sober, and I want you to walk with me, and I want you to come with me in heaven, to be in heaven with me when you die. And I want you to start talking to people about me. I know you'd be good at it. You'd be able to talk people into believing in me. I know you can. And he's talking to me like that, and I'm like, okay, Lord, I will. I didn't quite do it. I held on to a few things, marijuana, but I wasn't smoking it anymore. I was I was bargaining with the Lord. I'm like, well, I'm not smoking it. It's smoking it sorcery. It says so in the Bible. I'm just eating it, trying to like play little mind games. Eventually, I quit. I don't do anything. I'm a teetotaler now. I've been that way for a little bit, but that's all. I'm sharing these experiences with you because I'm witnessing to you. I want to try to convince you guys to believe in Jesus, because I'm obligated to do it. I'm not judging, because I touched a nerve with these Salvia divinorum diaries. I was afraid that nobody would want to listen to them, and I wouldn't get any response. Boy, was I wrong. Some people are going, yeah, it's scary. I got something out of it, and it was enlightening, and I don't regret it, but I don't know if I want to do it again. It's heavy. And other people, I love that stuff. It's more powerful, and I really see things on it. And this, I'm not judging anybody. I can't. I've been there. I get the feeling some of you guys are kind of like New Agers, and you're trying to be with those crews. Man, I've been there. I was with those inner circles. I was hanging out at Esalen Institute with Terrence McKenna, okay? Lots of times. I was deep in Santa Cruz with the Rainbow family, and do the Rainbow gatherings, the regionals and the nationals. All the Grateful Dead family. I know the original members from the first touring, group before they, the Grateful Dead decided to ditch all those people, but they were still the Grateful Dead family. Big traveling drug dealers is what they were. CIA, but I can't not even going to get into it. And the Renaissance Festival, the original Renaissance Fair people, I know them. The Burning Man Festival, I know all the guys that started that. I've met all of them and know them. I know a lot of those artists that do those crazy sculptures year after year, the big epic sculptures. I've worked with those people. I was in the art world in the Bay Area and Santa Cruz. I was an artist. I'm a damn good artist. I doubt if I'll ever be able to do that again. We'll see. If God spares me, I might get back into that. I was a talented artist. Been there. And I was seduced by it. But the Lord led me out of it. It's darkness, man. It was sorcery and witchcraft. Was it the really wicked kind you hear about where they're sacrificing people? No. But did I sense that maybe there was that was out there, and that this was the doorway maybe to that, which I'd never get involved in. But still, you're not going to heaven doing that stuff, okay? It might be innocent. You're just out there chewing peyote with the Indians in the desert running around, or with the wannabe Indians or whatever. You know what I mean. Shamanism, sorcery, witchcraft. The modern day pagan type of stuff. I've done it. I loved it. But I was going to go to hell if I kept doing it. Get to know Jesus before you eject him, please.